My name is Brian Johnson, Principal and Senior Vice President with Trinon Construction in Muskegon. The Trinon family is honored to be a partner in the construction of new administration building and Colby Center in Muskegon. The many social services and compassionate programs offered by Catholic Charities of West Michigan is proudly supported and sponsored by Trinon Construction. It is with hope that you join us to support and inspire others to give to these amazing programs that they offer to the communities they serve. Please join the Trinon family with your faith and financial support so that Catholic Charities of West Michigan can continue to keep raising hope. Thank you, and God bless. My name is Brian Johnson, Principal and Senior Vice President with Trinon Construction in Muskegon. The Trinon family is honored to be a partner in the construction of new administration building and Colby Center in Muskegon. The many social services and compassionate programs offered by Catholic Charities of West Michigan is proudly supported and sponsored by Trinon Construction. It is with hope that you join us to support and inspire others to give to these amazing programs that they offer to the communities they serve. Please join the Trinon family with your faith and financial support so that Catholic Charities of West Michigan can continue to keep raising hope. Thank you, and God bless.
Good evening, I'm Todd Chance, and on behalf of the board, the committee members, and the staff at Catholic Charities West Michigan, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to join us virtually for the 2020 Raising Hope at Home event. This event celebrates our community and the many ways in which Catholic Charities West Michigan serves that community, providing vital social services to those most in need, helping more than 32,000 people each year throughout West Michigan. Tonight, I look forward to hearing some great success stories from Catholic Charities clients and to hear from Mark Weber, who is the Catholic Central alum and the producer of Poverty, Inc. So he's going to tell us what we can do as a community to help our brothers and sisters rise out of poverty and into prosperity. Catholic Charities programs work to help individuals facing the challenges of everyday life, offering child welfare, family preservation, community outreach, behavioral health in Grand Rapids, Muskegon, and several other West Michigan communities. And these programs are touching the lives of children, adults, couples, and families in our community, showing compassion and love to those most in need and helping them reach their most God-given potential. The contributions made every day by the Catholic Charities West Michigan staff, leadership, community partners, and supporters directly result in Catholic Charities helping our neighbors in need. Thank you for what you are doing and for what you do. Throughout the program, there will be text to give information available at the bottom of the screen. If you feel inspired to support the vital programs of Catholic Charities West Michigan, throughout this program, please feel free to take advantage of the information you see at the bottom of your screen. Now, I'd like to introduce Catholic Charities West Michigan's new CEO, David Bellamy. David?
Thank you, Todd. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here tonight virtually in this year that we can't meet in person. I'm really excited about this evening and the stories we're going to share with you. I think these stories will help you better understand the really important work we do here at Catholic Charities, as well as show you how you can walk alongside us as we try to show God's love in the community. Like many people in the Grand Rapids area, my first connections with Catholic Charities was right here at God's Kitchen, where I helped serve people in need and offer a little comfort and hope as well. God's Kitchen alone serves 150,000 meals a year, which is just incredible. But believe it or not, with the coronavirus, the need is even greater, and we're constantly trying to adapt to provide the services to the community in a safe way, in a to-go manner, and we're adapting in a really amazing way. Psalm 146 tells us that God always keeps His word. He gives justice to the poor and feeds the hungry. That's exactly what we're trying to exemplify here at Catholic Charities. Through programs like God's Kitchen, going into homes to help preserve families, or going into prisons to help with substance abuse, we are meeting people where they are and giving them a path to success. Like so many other businesses during the pandemic, Catholic Charities has had to adapt to the situation. And I think we've become very adept at changing our programs very seamlessly to provide either remote, virtual meetings or very safe in-person, distanced meetings. Although I've only been the CEO of Catholic Charities now for just a few weeks, I've already seen the incredible work our staff does with the most vulnerable in the community. And I'm looking forward to working with each of you as we try to build up this community and improve the lives of those in need. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Bishop Wolkowiak to lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come before you with trust in your providence and thanks for those who serve you through the many ministries of Catholic Charities. Bless all who join in raising hope this evening. Strengthen us for service and fill us with compassion for those in need, that we may guide our neighbors to the fullness of life for which you have created them through Christ our Lord.
We're so grateful that you were able to join us to celebrate the clients and the many successes they've had through our vital programming. One new programming right here in Muskegon at the Colby Center is a program we'll be launching very soon. The Colby Center is a 4,700 square foot, 14-bed alcohol and drug detox center. The Colby Center is yet another example of how we continue to adapt our program to meet the needs of the community. And Muskegon truly needs these services. Unfortunately, Muskegon County is 8th nationally in drug and alcohol deaths per 1,000. Following the opening of the Colby Center later this month, we expect to treat up to 700 patients per year and yet another example of how we continue to uplift our neighbors and put people on a path to sobriety. And right across the parking lot, our new administrative office is also under construction. Slated to be completed in 2021, it'll hold up to 75 employees who will be, like our Grand Rapids office, provide services in child welfare, family preservation, community outreach, and behavioral health. But enough about us. Tonight's keynote speaker, Mark Weber, is a West Michigan native, a Catholic Central and Notre Dame alum, and somebody who I've known for several years. During Mark's time as president of the Notre Dame Boxing Club, he had the opportunity to go to Bangladesh. During this time, Mark had the opportunity to reevaluate his views on poverty, which eventually led to his work on Poverty Cure, a 6-part curriculum for Christians, and ultimately to his work on the award-winning documentary, Poverty, Inc. He currently serves as the Strategy and Operations Lead at the MIT IBM Watson Artificial Intelligence Lab, working closely with global leaders across multiple sectors on the creative challenge of bridging fundamental science to real-world impact. After Mark's world travels, he has continued to reflect on those here in his hometown who continue to need our support. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mark Weber.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Weber, and I'm delighted to be here at the Raising Hope at Home event. I actually grew up here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and went to school right across the street there at Catholic Central, Immaculate Heart of Mary growing up, and I'm really honored to be joining you tonight for this important event. It's the topic of charity that brings us together for this particular event, and the Raising Hope at Home theme is really interesting and meaningful to me beyond just this virtual environment that we're in. In my work as a documentary filmmaker, I spent many years interviewing people around the world on the topic of poverty versus human flourishing. And one of the things I realized is that it's very easy for us to become enamored with these big causes and these faraway, exotic places that we see in the news or social media or short-term mission trips or service trips. And it's good to be engaged in those things. But sometimes we get so engaged in that and so caught up in that we actually look over the heads of the people in our own communities, right next door, people who really need our help and who could really benefit from the love that we have to give them as people who are engaged in Christian acts. When I was in college at Notre Dame, one of the causes that I got very passionate about was the Catholic missions and education and social projects in Bangladesh that was led by the Congregation of the Holy Cross there. And we had this saying, strong bodies fight that weak bodies may be nourished. And we would use this to motivate ourselves and to raise money for these faraway people in a faraway land and a cause that was very important to us. It wasn't until I actually spent some time in Bangladesh, first in 2008 and then over a number of years following, that I realized a flaw in the way that I was thinking and approaching this mission and this call to Christian charity. And I realized it the first time we went into a Bangladeshi school, and we were being introduced as the donors, the benefactors, the philanthropists, the boxers and students who were raising money for this school in a tribal area of Bangladesh. And we were introduced by using the motto that we ourselves were so proud of. Strong bodies fight, and these are the strong bodies, that weak bodies may be nourished, and you are the weak bodies. And as the priest was saying this, a Bangladeshi priest, all of us just started to sink in our seats and realize that, oh my gosh, this motto that we were so proud of because it was a cause that was good and true, when you're actually standing across the room from someone, it creates a very paternalistic relationship. We were the champions and the heroes in this story rather than being supporters and servants in this story. That experience of feeling shame about a motto that I had once been so proud of helped me kind of understand and then start to observe a common pitfall when it comes to charity, and that's the fact that we often turn the poor into the objects of our charity rather than understanding them properly as the subjects and protagonists in their own story of development and their own story of human flourishing. So what do we do with that? What do we do with that lesson about subject and object versus object and relationship versus cause? I think in my own life, what I've tried to do is seek out opportunities to come into relationship, meaningful and ongoing relationships with people, rather than just cutting a check or just giving a talk and intellectualizing poverty or making poverty and charity a purely financial tax benefit topic of the year. And for each of us, that's going to mean something different, and it's going to mean something different in the way that we spend our time. It's going to mean something different in the way that we spend our money. But if we hold on to this idea of charity itself and we think about, okay, charity isn't just about cutting a check. It's actually about love. So caritas is the root word for charity, and caritas is an important form of human love and divine love. And what does it mean to love someone? Can you really love a cause, or can you really love an organization, or is it people that we love? Is it persons that we can come into relationship with? And when we hold on to that framework for charity, I think it fundamentally shifts our mindset, as it shifted mindset that first time that I had to reckon with a cause that I had been involved with. And so bringing that back here to West Michigan, this especially in this interesting year that we find ourselves in, where we're not traveling much, we're not able to go to these faraway places. We're actually, interestingly and importantly, stuck at home and held in our own communities. I think this is a special, special time to really focus on what we have here at home. And what we have here at home in West Michigan, where I grew up, I'm very, very grateful how much love and community and culture and support I had. But I'm also very aware at how many people don't have that, don't have love, don't have family structure, don't have community structure, don't have health, don't have enough food. And I think that if we branch out from our strong ecosystems, we'll realize that a lot of people right next door and right in our own community here in Hartside neighborhood and throughout Grand Rapids are really struggling and do really need us. And so the question is, what are we going to do about it? We can't come in and be the saviors and the heroes and the protagonists, but we can come in and be Christians. And what that means to me, what I believe that means, is to conform our hearts to love. And in love, we can act with kindness, we can think with kindness, we can be tender, not just to the people who, quote unquote, deserve it, or who haven't done any wrong or haven't made any mistakes, but in fact, precisely the people who have fallen, who have failed, who have made mistakes, who haven't taken advantage of every opportunity that's been given to them, or who are struggling with things that we have no way of understanding. When I looked into the work of Catholic Charities in West Michigan, which I haven't been involved with for many years now, I was really, really excited to see several key programs that I think are very important, and especially where we are today in 2020 in the United States. One is focused on behavioral health. One is focused on family preservation. Another is focused on helping people recover from drug addiction and alcohol addiction. Those three things alone all actually interplay with one another in the fabric of our communities in America. There's a lot of broken down families, and with broken down families comes loss of love and support that one needs to flourish in youth and in life. A lot of that brokenness is connected to drug and alcohol addiction. A lot of drug and alcohol addiction is connected to behavioral health problems that have gone unaddressed for many, many years in our society. And to me, conforming our hearts in love means starting to understand that somebody who's struggling with depression isn't necessarily lazy, or somebody who has trauma that we may never understand from childhood abuse or from violence or from or from rape or from sexual abuse or violence of any kind, they may not be lazy or worthless because they struggle to show up for work every day because they have panic and anxiety, and they can't just pull themselves up by the bootstraps because they can't even get out of bed. I think in the political environment that we're in, not just today, but my whole life, we get caught in these binaries of right and wrong and self-realization versus total dependency, and people who want to help versus people who think that we need to promote agency just can't talk to each other. And the reality is, yes, we all have personal responsibility, we all have agency, but we also all need help. We also all need support. And I think the reason Catholic Charities is so important, and the reason Christian charity is so important, and in general human love is so important, is because institutions like government or even nonprofits can only go so far. Our role as humans and as Christians is to love one another. And through loving one another, we help bring out the best in each other. We help elevate one another in ways that can be quite beautiful. That the flip side of that is we can also hurt each other. And we hurt each other not just by doing violence, overt violence to each other, but we hurt each other by ignoring each other. And so as we think about charity, I want to challenge you to join me in a personal commitment I've made to myself to stop looking over the heads of people in my own community. For me, the way I've decided to exercise this, last year I decided to start visiting a young man in prison and staying in touch with a young man in prison who's trying to get his education, get his bachelor's. And he's about my age. When he was 17, 18, he committed a terrible crime, and he's been in prison ever since. He spent more time in prison than not in prison. And for me, this is one person in my community who I feel has been overlooked and written off. And while it's easy to see a poor child in Bangladesh and feel this person has done no wrong and therefore they are worthy of my love and of my support, I think we also need to think about people who have done wrong and who are nevertheless worthy of our love and worthy of our support, because what is Christianity if not about that? Because that is the love that's given to us from God. And so for me, that's just my commitment. But what I want you to do, and what I hope you will do, is think about who is that person over the upcoming year, or where is that community of people who I can come into authentic relationship with. And maybe that's a way that you can support someone through recovering from drug addiction or alcohol addiction. Maybe it's a way that you can support mothers and fathers in holding their families together, or in being better spouses or being better partners or fathers or mothers or sisters or brothers. Maybe it's a way that you can sit down with somebody at God's Kitchen and actually have a conversation with them just as a human being, make them feel regarded, make them feel valued, make them feel loved at lunch once a week in a way that they probably don't get very much from people of your stature in profession. Because one of the hardest things that people in these difficult situations have to deal with is the way that we look at them. It's the way that we treat them. Sometimes it's with pity, other times it's with disgust. And if we can form our hearts to love and change the way that we look at people, the way that we interact with people, that in itself can make a huge impact for them. And then the second challenge is to think about what organizations we do want to support that have this relational mindset to charity and love, that are committed to not just handing things out to people, but coming into relationship with people, meeting them where they're at in life, not only the innocent, but the accused, not only the young, but the old, not only the healthy and strong, but the weak and the broken. I'm not doing a good enough job of this myself. And it's always hard to give these kinds of talks and speak to groups like you, because I'm sure most of you are doing much, much more than I am. But I do understand these ideas. And I want to challenge myself, and I want to share that challenge with you. As you have dinner today, as you join this event, as you listen to these talks, let us guard against intellectualizing poverty and charity. Let's guard against the subject-object pitfall of turning the poor into the objects of our charity and turning charity itself into a check that we write and write off on our taxes. Let's think about that one person this year in our community who we're overlooking, who we can love in an authentic and ongoing and meaningful way. And let's think about the organizations that we want to support that are trying to promote that type of work. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your insight, Mark. We're honored to welcome you and to have you help us advocate for those who are receiving the vital services that Catholic Charities provides. How does Catholic Charities of West Michigan provide those services? Well, with a team of people in our community who are willing to help. That's how it happens, with people just like you. Whether it be people that donate time and money to help or provide food to the hungry, or provide resources to families, or individuals who open up their homes to foster children. Last year, more than 150,000 meals were served to the hungry through God's Kitchen. 5,500 children were provided resources through Catholic Charities baby pantries. Over 4,000 individuals were counseled through mental health struggles, and 300 children were cared for each day by our amazing foster parents. Tonight, we hear from those who have personally participated in these programs.
People were saying, hey man, you want to go have lunch? And I'm like, hey, my wallet's not doing too well right now. Well, you're talking. He said, man, they got a place called God's Kitchen, man, that serves great food. And I'm telling you, come on with me. And I just happened to learn it through mutual friends. I've been coming ever since and volunteering ever since.
My name is Denise McCaleb, and I work at God's Kitchen, a program of Catholic Charities. God's Kitchen serves a meal from 12:30 to 2 p.m. just about every day of the week. We have 3 programs now. We do the home delivery meal program, the on-site meal program, and then our third program is our baby pantry.
This has been one of the places that has been consistent, you know, with people knowing that, hey, I need a little something for lunch today to get me through the day. Some people just don't know where the next meal is coming from. They always know they can come here to God's Kitchen, but they use this as a haven to where if it's hot outside in the 90s or 100s, they can come here for a few hours to cool off. Or if it's blistering cold out there, they can come in and get some heat as well as some nourishment.
I see people that have come here to eat and got a job now, and I see them out different places, and it feels good for them to say, you know, I really appreciate the help you guys gave me when I was down.
And it's just great food. The chefs they're amazing.
We have really good chefs, and they try to make a well-balanced meal.
For people who have to figure out how to feed 100 to 200 people each day, you know, with what they have, and they have the greatest food.
They come up with some things I never would have thought of.
I don't know if the camera can see this, but let me tell you, the food is excellent, man. Hey, I'm like, I can't wait to get back to get a meal today.
Just having a safe place to sit and talk to somebody or not talk to somebody or whatever you want to do here for that hour and a half, I think it's a wonderful thing.
I'm a recovering addict. So about 2 years ago, I lost my kids. I actually lost my house, my car, everything. Towards the end of my court case, Silver and Corey came into the picture.
I'm Corey Smith. I am with the Family Reunification Program with Catholic Charities. We go into families' homes when they are getting reunified with their children. The families have had their children in foster care, so we help get them ready to have their children back and get everything in order for them to be reunified. Amy came to us. She was in a situation where there was a little bit of a history of some domestic violence. I believe there was a bit of child neglect and also some substance abuse issues for both mom and dad.
There's a lot of things I did actually have to take out of my life. I had to basically take a second look at the people I was around, at the things I was doing.
She had counseling for herself. We worked on getting counseling for her older son. And she also participated in Narcotics Anonymous. She also did Women's Empowerment Group, actually. And we worked with her on domestic violence, recognizing power and control elements in her relationship, substance abuse, relapse prevention. Those were really important things.
We did a lot of communication things. She helped me set a schedule for everything. Just the fact that I have a routine, I'm more positive and understanding with my kids.
It's really critical for children to have a safe home environment. Children thrive with routine and structure. Helping regain a sense of normalcy is really helpful for children's development.
I was able to get my house back. I'm sober. My kids have what they need, and I'm there for them. These programs are really nice. It takes a little bit to, I guess, get comfortable with the fact that, I did do something wrong, but, they never made me feel uncomfortable. My life is 10 times better,
After our second born, she was colic for 8 months, and we were like, I don't think we want any more. Yeah. And then we had 2 girls, and we're like, well, maybe we should try one more for a boy. And then after that, that's when I kind of felt like God had put on my heart to do adoption.
So the Parkers have been licensed with Catholic for 4 years now. They have adopted 3 out of their 4 placements, and I was the adoption worker working with their most recently adopted child, which is the half-brother of a previously adopted kiddo that they have.
From our perspective, it is about caring for God's family. So I guess that's the approach we always took, that a little bit more of a sense of responsibility for people that are struggling when we have the means to help them.
So our initial goal was to only adopt 1 child. And then when we were placed with Eli, he was African American, and so we knew right then that we were going to take in another child of his skin color, because we did a lot of research, and it seemed to be that children succeed better if they have someone who looks like them in the home, and we wanted to give him the best opportunity. And what better, his brother came along, and that was about as perfect as we could have planned that.
It's very important that the brothers are together. They have a special bond. They know that they're brothers. And I think it's definitely important for kids to be able to have biological relations that are appropriate once they are in a permanent home. They have 7 kids, and they're all fairly young, so it was always chaos, but the most perfect chaos going to do home visits.
For us, it was definitely motivated by our faith and our wanting to make a difference, in some way. We didn't know it was going to turn into having to buy a school bus to drive around, but the pieces just fell into place once we got started with it.
I was very proud and very excited to be able to work with Kevin and Danielle. They're always excitable. They're always willing to reach out their hands and help whatever kiddo we call them for. Even now with 7 kids, they've still said that they're willing to take a call.
Going into the foster side of it, we had the mindset that we were not just seeking an adoption, we were seeking to provide foster care while, the parents were able to, overcome some obstacles and things. But
I think you have to be very empathetic when your role as a foster parent. So What we try to do is when we first went into foster care and adoption, we were kind of thinking, how could we impact a child's life? And then when Eli came to us, our perspective changed as well. We can impact more than one life here. So like even when we had the kids, we would write the birth mom letters. When we knew it was her birthday, we would send a birthday present, a Christmas present.
And there would be presents from,
we would say from Eli.
They have gone above and beyond with supporting all of the kiddos in their home, with making sure that they rearrange bedrooms and rearrange their life to be able to fit in any kiddo.
and even who we haven't adopted when they were in our home, that's our family. If we did family pictures that week and we had somebody in our family, well, you're in our pictures because you're in our family. So
all of our kids were always asking for more kids, and we're like, well, we already have 5. Okay, now we already have 6, and then here comes 7. So they all love them. There isn't really any issues with them. I mean, they're their brother and sister, and they just consider them that, and we're just blessed that they feel that way.
we've got some nudity behind us here.
Sorry.
It's wonderful to share the successes of our programs. Our staff find themselves in challenging situations where we meet clients at their most difficult times. As you can expect, this has become even more challenging during the pandemic. Our essential staff have worked tirelessly to make sure that we are providing to our neighbors the help they need in a safe setting. Their success stories remind us of why it is we do what we do. Thank you for sharing with us and for your strength. We have several staff members joining us virtually in the audience this evening. These are the people out in the community every day doing this important work, and we truly appreciate them. So as we near the end of the evening, I'd like to take the time to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight, and especially our major sponsors, whose commitment and generosity to this community make this event possible. Thank you for your support and all you do to make this community better. I'd also like to thank and recognize the volunteer leadership of Catholic Charities, West Michigan, the board members and the committee members who continue to strive to make the work we do possible. Before I conclude my remarks, I would just like to say how humbled and honored I am to take on the role of Chief Executive Officer of Catholic Charities, West Michigan. This organization is doing amazing work, and I hope you will join me in helping to support its vital mission. As Mark Weber pointed out in his talk, as we're all trying to stay close to home, this is the perfect opportunity to look around and invest in those organizations and people who make a difference in this community. Now let's welcome back Todd Chance. Todd, thanks for helping us out this evening.
Thank you, David, and as always, thank you for your leadership. This evening we have celebrated Catholic Charities programs and the individuals who are making successful strides in their lives. And after hearing these moving stories that the Catholic Charities staff and the work that they do, we hope that you feel inspired to join us to further support this mission. Catholic Charities would not be able to do what they do, to continue to make the strides in providing help and creating hope for the increasing number of people in need, without friends and supporters like you. Take a moment now to think about how you could make a difference in their lives. I'll give you all a moment to think about how you can make that difference. And on the bottom of the screen, you'll find some specific ways in which your contribution can be used to help our brothers and sisters in need. There's also a text-to-give number and instructions on how to donate online, along with other ways to make an impact on your screen now. We'll now take a moment for those of you who would like to show your support. Thank you for your support of the vision of Catholic Charities West Michigan. As we end our time here together, I encourage all of you to stop and answer this question that brought us all here today. Are you ready? Are you ready to support those in need right here at home in our communities? Whether that's by donating your time, your talent, or treasure, we all have the opportunity to make a difference. Thank you for joining us tonight and celebrating the work of Catholic Charities. Now I'd like to invite Bishop Walkowiak to the stage for a closing prayer. The Bishop's prayer will be followed by a special performance from the Catholic Central High School's choir.
Loving God, we praise you for the blessings you bestow upon us and thank you for the opportunity to share those blessings with our neighbors. Unite our efforts in your Spirit and grant us every grace we need to help our brothers and sisters rise out of poverty and into prosperity through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall, no one knew.
Let the lonely feeling wash away, 'cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. Oh, someone will come running, and I know take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, as you reach up and rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
We'd like to thank our sponsors this evening. Thank you to our silver sponsors for supporting Catholic Charities' mission. Thank you to our bronze sponsors for supporting Catholic Charities' mission. Thank you to our table hosts for supporting Catholic Charities' mission. Thank you to our Creating Hope Watch Party Box sponsors for supporting Catholic Charities' mission. Thank you once again for spending this time with us, and we hope that you have a pleasant evening. Good night.